All right, buddy. So this video, like we talked about, just kind of goes through the whole kind of power plant general thing. So I'll just kind of talk about these different little areas, and then I'll timestamp it so you can skip a lot of it that you don't need, and hopefully it'll help you out if you have any questions. Anyway, so obviously, right, the first thing we do is all our coal comes in on a coal train and we unload it out there. Now ours doesn't look like this, our coal unloading, but the idea is the same. As we unload the coal out into the coal field, and then it's got a video here in a sec of it going into the plant on a coal conveyor. Okay, so whenever we need to get the coal into the plant, it comes up here on this conveyor, and then it goes into these. These are the coal silos. So it comes in there, and then we have 4 of those on unit 2 and 3 on unit 1. So that coal just comes in here, and that's about 4 or 5 stories tall is how tall that is, and it holds I forget how many tons. It's a lot. Okay, so then we'll carry on, and that coal comes down in here and then goes down into these feeders, and these feeders, all these are like conveyor belts, and so that coal comes in, that conveyor belt feeds it out at a given rate, whatever it needs to be fed at, right? And that feeds it down here in a sec into our coal mills. All right, so these coal mills, you can kind of see how it's spinning down there, right? And it's got these big rollers, just think of them like wheels. That coal comes down into the middle, and then this bed is rotating around, so that coal gets flung out, and then those wheels crush it, and they crush it up into like fine baby powder. It's really fine enough that we have a big fan that pushes air through here, so it picks up that baby powder, and then it shoots it back up into the boiler, and that's where we get the flame from. So that'll get shown here in just a sec. So there's your coal going back up. Maybe, if it'll ever do it. So it goes through those pipes and then goes, so here's the fan that blows it through there. Those are those mills on here. And then it blows that coal up through the pipes, and then it comes out here, right? And it catches on fire. So if the fire's already in there, it just ignites. If it's not in there, we start off with natural gas and igniters, just like your pilot light on your gas water heater or something like that. So it goes in here, and then it has this big raging fireball that you see here. So that fireball, like we kind of talked about, goes up and goes over, and then it goes over to the pollution control equipment that we kind of talked about, getting rid of the NOx and the sulfur and the fly ash. But, okay, so we'll pause that. But to get the steam, right, we actually feed water in here. So we've got big pumps, right, and they feed in here, and now there's water inside these tubes. So that hot gas is heating that water up, right? That water flows up and then flows here into this drum. So that drum, it contains the water that's just gotten pumped in, and it's probably 700 degrees at that point. So it comes down through here, and then it goes into the walls of the boiler. Well, so this boiler, right, it's like 10 stories high, and the walls of it are made up of these pipes, and the pipes are, I think they're 2-inch diameter. And so there's water inside the pipes, and then there's this big raging fireball on the outside of the pipes. And so as that water goes up through these pipes, it's picking up that heat. And in these walls is when it actually turns into steam. So you've got this big raging inferno there. The water's in the pipes over here. And then it's flashed into steam. So it's turned into steam, but it's kind of a wet steam. So it comes up here, and then it actually goes right back into that drum. So then it comes out of the drum. So now you've got kind of a steamy water mixture. And it'll kind of move out of there. Okay, so that steam water mixture, we're concerned about that because we don't want that water to condense, or that steam to condense back into water in the pipes and then go through the turbine, because the turbine is spinning so fast that if water goes in there, it'll destroy the turbine. It'll shred that turbine. So what we do is we do this thing that's called superheating it. So the water is actually a lot hotter than it needs to be to maintain steam, and that gives it extra energy. So it makes our turbine spin better too, right? So anyway, so it goes there, it gets superheated because that now you've got steam in these pipes, and that fire is roaring over through here until it goes out the back there. All right. So now it's going to the turbine. All right, so that's how we make our steam. Okay, so then this, we kind of talked about this as far as how we make the electricity, right? So what they figured out, right, that was a guy named Michael Faraday back in, I think, the 17th century, somewhere around there. I think he hung out with Edison or something. But what he figured out was if you take this magnet and you just move it past a wire like they're doing here, it puts a voltage in there. Well, that magnet, and we use AC right in our grid in America, and pretty much every grid, in that, so you've got the magnet with the north and the south pole here, and I think Bailey in the write-up called it the positive and the negative pole of the magnet. It doesn't matter, it's the same idea. So as that north pole moves through there, it causes that current to go here. Well, now you'll see the south pole comes back and it hits the wires first, so it causes that current to go in the other direction. So that's the whole AC thing that they're talking about. So it just keeps going back and forth like that, right? And that's, we're using alternating current. So instead of having that little magnet move back and forth like in the last picture, instead we stick it on this rotor, right? So you've got a north pole and a south pole. And so then here you've got that north and that south pole, and this stator is just wires. So as that rotor or as that magnet moves past each of these wires, it induces that current in there. And that's what makes the electricity. Okay, so that's all we're doing is we're taking a magnet and moving it past a wire, and that makes our electricity. So keeping on moving here. And they just kind of give you some things. So now this load, though, that load, we send that out to the grid, right? So out there at your house or whatever, that's going to, everything in our house, for the most part, uses alternating current. So it's just going back and forth out to your house. And it's all coming from that generator, right? Okay, and so the same thing here, right? That's what it's showing us. That north and that south pole moves past each wire. It's doing that thing. So each rotation, all right, so, and we sort of talked about this. So you've got the generator, which we just talked about, and then you've got the prime mover. Well, for us in the steam plant, that's a steam turbine, but the gas turbines, you know, and they're in the video a little bit, like the McCartney gas turbines, their prime mover that turns their generator, the generator's set up really similarly. They're all made almost the same way. But the prime mover can be different. So in the plant here, we use a steam turbine, but in the gas turbines, they use a jet engine. That's essentially what it is. It's a jet engine. And then like like windmills, they use a windmill to turn it. But it's the same idea. You need something to turn that generator to generate the electricity. All right. So we use a steam turbine. And then, okay, so here, this is the steam turbine, right? And even though Bailey had a problem with this, that's too bad. I would still do that just to make her happy, is make it look exactly like that. All right, man. So anyway, that steam comes through here and then turns the turbine, right? And it is like a pinwheel, but it's a lot more. It's a lot more technically designed than a pinwheel. They really tried. They've really manufactured these and engineered them to get the most bang for their buck out of that steam. But anyway, so it goes through there and it causes that steam turbine to turn, right? And then that steam turbine, you'll see in a second, is attached to the generator, to that magnet. So it's spinning the magnet. Just kind of ignore this part. All right, so it's attached to that magnet that you see here. So you've got your prime mover here, you got your magnet here, and it just spins that turbine and makes the electricity. Okay.
Tracy Carter, line 4.
They're calling all kinds of people like that. I imagine you can hear that. Okay, so, but the condenser, right, like we talked about. Oh, okay. I don't have that in here, but we'll go over that hot reheat again, right? So if you hit that part, it goes where it's coming from the boiler, right? You've got that high pressure steam that comes through this little high pressure section of the turbine, and then it goes out of there and goes back up into the boiler, right? And it gets heated up again, and then it comes back down, and now it's heated up to like what? It was like 1,040 pounds and like 1,050 degrees or something like that. Then it comes through here, and it's causing that turbine to spin, and then it goes up and over and then down through here, and then it goes through the low pressure. So here's the high pressure section. There's the intermediate pressure section. And then here's the low pressure section, right? And then after it goes through there, then it goes down into the condenser. And that's where we turn the steam back into water, right? So to do that, you'll see that steam pop up here in just a second. So the steam's coming down through there. That steam comes through here, like we talked about it. We've got these tubes in here. So inside the tubes is water from the cooling tower, right? Outside the tubes is steam, and those don't mix. In fact, it's really bad if they do mix. So we work really hard to make sure that the water inside the tubes does not get out of it. So that steam comes down through here. It's on the outside of the tubes. This water's on the inside of the tubes. It's cold coming in. So that steam condenses on those tubes, falls down into the bottom here, and then that cold water then goes out and it's hot water. And so we'll cool that down with the cooling tower. Okay, so this condensed working fluid that it talks about here, right, that's used to be steam. Now it's just condensed water. So this water and this water are two separate waters, right? All right, so we'll come back to that condensed water. But for now, right, we've got cold water in to condense it, hot water going out to the cooling tower. Like we said, this is not what our cooling towers look like. That wasn't. This is what they look like, right? So you've got your hot water coming in here, and then that sprays down over these little baffles here, and that cools it off. But then you've got this fan up on the top. So we run the fan. That pulls water, or that pulls air in from the side, cool air. So that water falls down to the bottom, it gets cooled off, and then we have some vapor coming out the top, like it says there, right? All right, so it goes out the top, and then that water in the bottom is cool and goes back to the plant as cool water. I'll show you that real quick, right? So then it comes back as cool, all right? Okay, so let's see. So now we're going to look at that water that used to be steam that condensed, right? So it comes down and it condenses down there, or it collects down in the bottom there. So then we have these condensate pumps, and we just need to pump it back up to the drum. Well, the drum, right, it's 2,400 pounds of pressure, so we have to have some pretty mondo pumps. On the way up there, it goes through these heaters, which I don't think Bailey talked about, so we won't hit on them. But basically, they kind of hit that water, or heat that water up as it goes up. That way it doesn't hit the drum at 100 degrees or something, right? And we're trying to get it up to 1,000 degrees. So we do it to kind of not thermal shock, and it also has another benefit. But you don't have that in your video, so kind of ignore what I just said. But anyway, so that water gets pumped all the way back up into the drum. This and it, these are just different parts of the steam plant. These are the big pumps. So you had those little pumps that pumped it basically over to these big pumps. Then these big pumps pump it back up into the drum that you'll see here in a sec. All right, so now it's about to go back into the drum. And I went through that kind of fast because I sped it up on purpose because I didn't want to. Okay, so it goes into the economizer here, and this is exactly what we looked at, like right around here, right? So it goes in there. So now it's gone through the turbine. It's turned back into water. We pump that water back up to here, and it starts heating it up again. And then it goes up into the drum, and then it just repeats. Okay, so it just goes in a loop like that. All right, so then this is the pollution control equipment, right? So we said we have all that hot gas that's coming out the back. So you've got the gas with nitrous oxide in it, sulfur in it, and then fly ash. So the first thing that we talked about was this SCR. So that's selective catalytic reduction. And so that is coming out through here. It comes up. So that gas has it sprayed in, right? It's ammonia. So it sprays that ammonia in there into the gas, and then it comes over the top. And then goes through those catalyst layers, right? So we've got 3 catalyst layers. And I think that we talked about it, or Bailey said that I think we determined there were 24 of those baskets on each level. So you got 24 here, 24 here, and 24 here. That reaction occurs, and that takes the nitrous oxide, which is that NO. That takes it out of it, right? Okay, so then it comes out of there, so the nitrous oxide's gone. Now we got to get rid of the sulfur. So now it comes in here, and it goes up into that scrubber. And they don't really show it, but that is kind of that fly ash, right? I said there was a big, huge whirling tornado of fly ash in there, right? So they put some lime in there, and then they put water in there because the water helps the chemical reaction of the lime. The lime reacts with the sulfur, and then it all falls out into the bottom, and then we send that over to the fly ash silo, right? So that takes all the sulfur dioxide out of it. So now the final thing is to get that ash out of there, and then it goes. That's over here in the bag house, right? So it's going to come up here, and it's going to go over there, and then it comes here. So you've got your fabric filter. Right, we said that some people have electrostatic precipitators. We don't have those. All this is that big, basically vacuum cleaner bag, right? So it goes in there, and then I'm not sure what else is on here. Oh, okay, that's them hauling it. That's them hauling that ash away because that's coming out of the bag house. Oh, that actually might help in a way. In the write-up, right, they said that we send it to a silo. This doesn't go to or this little video here just has them hauling it away, which we do haul it away, but we send it to a silo first. So, yeah, hopefully that doesn't confuse you seeing that. But here's a better video of how the bag house works. So if you remember, you got air with fly ash in it here. You got those bags sitting down. So the air continues through the bags, but the ash is sitting on top of the bags, and then they pulse it, and that ash falls down into the bottom, and then she said it goes to a silo, right? So then coming out the top of it, right, that's just pure clean air, and that goes over to the stack. All right, so this is just our actual bag house, right? That's huge. And then, so that has all those bags in it, right? Like 14,000 or whatever. And then coming out of that, then it just goes out to the stack. Let me think if that was, I think that's all we talked about. Let me try to find that bag house video real quick though, and maybe I'll try to mark it up. Okay, so this is that one video that we looked at, right? And this may just, because there is that part that you got to kind of build for her talking about the ash falling off those bags, right? Hopefully this will show the pulsing of it, hopefully. Okay, perfect, right, yeah, so it pulses it, right? Like it's showing here, and then it falls down, and I think it does send it to a silo in this video, right? So that might help a little bit. Let's see. All right, right. So then it falls down here, and then we do something really similarly. We have basically a fan like this. It's an air compressor, but it does the same thing, and it pushes that ash over into a silo, kind of like this. I mean, so that's not a bad animation of it. So I think, if I remember correctly, hopefully that's all that you have to try to build for it. And if you have any questions or anything, just feel free to send me a text, because you have my phone number. If you need to call, if it'd be easier just to call, you can call me, or you can send me an email, because I'm going to send you the link to this, and that other drawing I'll attach to the email also. And hopefully that'll help you out, buddy. If you need anything, give me a call or just get in contact with me. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.